timing on these cars is a big issue, right? You need to get it right. And so many times we don't have our timing set right on our car. There's a couple reasons for that. One thing, which is pretty well known around the community, is going to be a balancer that has slipped. So your harmonic balancer sometimes on these cars will slip and it'll give you an inaccurate reading. So how do you know that? Well, it's pretty easy for the most part. A lot of times you can just start your car up, look down. You have to look at the front side of your balancer though, down here, and as it's spinning, see if it's wobbling. If it's wobbling, more than likely it has slipped. There's just a rubber boot inside of these things. What happens if that balancer has slipped, obviously, is your timing mark's gonna be bad. So I wanna go over something real quick, like before we get started, to help you guys out, maybe if you can't get an accurate reading on your balancer. Like I said, first things first though, you really need to replace this. But once the valves start rattling at wide open throttle, which there again, this is a workaround, guys. But once those valves start to rattle, you bump it down just below that. And typically that's gonna be about the max timing that you can run on these cars, and you're probably gonna get some of your best performance out of it. All right, that's a workaround, guys. I'm just letting you know. You wanna know the inside stuff on these cars? That's what this is about. I'm giving you the inside scoop on what's gonna make these cars run good and some workarounds. But there again, guys, I can't help but tell you to do it the right way. Buy the parts that you need to buy. Anyway, with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into setting the timing on one of these cars. I'm gonna go ahead and show you the difference that it makes when you have your timing set right. So I kind of jumped the gun here, guys. This is what we're gonna do though. We're gonna go ahead and just screw this thing all up right here. I hope you guys appreciate videos like this because I'm about to mess this car all up just for the sake of this video. So what I'm gonna do here is loosen up my TPS. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this. I want to loosen my TPS up and I'm just going to move this thing around, guys. See that? I'm going to move it around. And I'm going to take my distributor and I'm just going to put that thing somewhere over there like that. All right, so this car is all out of whack at this point. So this is like worst case scenario for a car that needs like a tune-up, right? You come out here, your TPS is all jacked up and your timing, you don't even know where it is, right? I'm going to walk you through the steps real quick, like of how to do this and get your Fox body back running pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead, start the car up. Let's see what we got. That is not the way a Fox body is supposed to sound. So there you go. That's an example of really low timing. You don't want that. So what I like to do is if I hear a situation like that, I like to come out here and go ahead and start adjusting the distributor until the car sounds better. So let's listen real quick. Sounds pretty good, right? So what we can do, go ahead and lock this distributor down. Not lock it down, you just want to put a little tension on the distributor so it doesn't flop around and move on you. All right, so the distributor is like hand tight, if you will. So what I'm gonna do now is go ahead and actually set the timing on the car. First things first, go ahead and remove this little plug right here. Let's go ahead and get started with this. So if you guys don't know, just hook this up on your number one wire. You can always look back here. Your cap should be marked to number one. Just make sure that your wire goes over here to this front cylinder. So you're gonna come in. Oh man, yeah, we're extremely low. Look at that timing mark. Guys, I don't know how much of this you can see. I'm sorry if you can't really see it. So what I'm gonna do now is adjust the distributor and you'll see that line change and move. There we go. Now that's somewhere about 12 to 14 degrees of timing right there. Hear the difference that it makes in the car and the way it runs? Let's go ahead and lock that down so this distributor doesn't move anymore. And another good thing you can do is once you lock it down, always check it again because 9 times out of 10, your distributor is gonna move after you lock it down. Okay, for me, that looks pretty good. We're somewhere around 10 to 12 degrees. I'm okay with that. Now I'm gonna show you guys something. There again, do this at your own risk. So it's not the safest way of doing things. But what you can do is while your car's running, you can go underneath it with a piece of sandpaper and lay it up on your harmonic balancer, sand it off so you can read the numbers a little better. Guys, all I can tell you is do this at your own risk. I don't recommend you doing it this way, but let's just be honest, a lot of people do. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that, and I'll show you what it looks like. Well, upon further inspection, it looks like my harmonic balancer on my car may need to be replaced. I thought we just did that. I don't know, maybe we put it on the Calypso, I can't remember, but looks like mine's gonna need to be replaced too, guys. So it looks like it has a little bit of a wobble to it. Now, just for the record, you can't look at the back side of it and tell because it does have a cutout on it, so it's gonna look like it's wobbling. You need to look at the front side of your harmonic balancer to see if it's wobbling. All right, let's go ahead and check these numbers again. Now, look at that, guys. You can probably even read those numbers now. You see the difference that makes? Awesome. 10 to 12 degrees on these cars is typically what I like, but we're gonna bump this thing up to about 14 to see if it really helps. Don't loosen your distributor up so much that it just flops around. Leave a little bit of tension on it. That way, whenever you move it, it stays in place for you. There we go, guys, 14 degrees. So I've got my timing set. Now it's time to address this TPS. But look, guys, the car's running great, even with the TPS reading probably off. This kind of proves my point of the TPS, a lot of times is not your problem like you think it is, but we'll get into that later. After everything's said and done, go ahead and put your plug back in. All right, now let's address this TPS. I'm gonna check mine while the car is running. I think that's the best thing to do. So let's go ahead and see what it is. Did you notice once we set the TPS, now the car is idled up really high? Here we go. Idle the car back down. This ultimately is going to change our TPS now. So this is a back and forth thing here. So this car seems to be running pretty good. Let's go ahead, turn it off, and talk about it. One thing that I do want to remind you guys of is a car with a cam in it like this, which is it's just a stock car. It's got a B cam in it. But a car like this with a cam can be a little tricky sometimes to set. But that's just how easy it is, guys. Sometimes you take these cars down the road and they skip. They backfire, they don't have any power, they just don't run good. You'd probably be surprised just how often it's just the timing is set wrong on these cars. I do want to cover this real quick, like be careful on an older engine trying to run a lot of timing. What happens is you start getting hot spots inside of your combustion chamber, meaning like carbon deposits and things like that. They will actually glow red hot on you and cause pre-detonation. That's just something to think about, guys. A lot of these newer engines, if you just built an engine and you went through and you pocket polished everything, you made sure there wasn't any burrs or anything like that in it, you typically run a little more timing. Be very careful of that though. An older engine doesn't like a lot of timing a lot of times, but you be the judge of that. You can test it, play around with it on your engine. I hope this helped somebody maybe new to the FOXBODY game, didn't know how to set your timing right. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. And as always, thanks for watching.